12-gauge slug. That's what I was shot with.
Lieutenant Tion Augustine shot while responding to calls of a suicidal man, his wife, a sergeant at the sheriff's office, listening to the police radio.
And I remember having trouble breathing, like I wasn't getting enough air. It was almost like somebody punched me in the gut.
Sergeant Emily Augustine's gut instincts were correct.
My phone rang, and it was Ty.
And I told her that I was the one that was shot.
And he told me that he had been shot.
And I was going to be all right. I was hurt real bad, but it's going to be okay.
He says he told me other things past that, but I didn't hear anything else. I heard that he was shot.
This is the result. Shot in the hip, left with a broken femur.
I felt the impact. When it hit me, it kind of stood me up on that side. When my weight came back down that leg, I could feel the bones grinding together.
He says he fired back at something moving in the woods.
And when I returned fire, she started yelling.
Lieutenant Augustine says a woman yelling was the suspect's mother and gave them a clue as to where the shooter was. But Lieutenant Augustine was left to take cover to stop his bleeding until
Sergeant Henson started dragging me towards cover. Officer Williard was providing cover in case we were being shot at again.
What was going through your mind?
I was concerned somebody else was going to get shot. They exhibited the utmost bravery. They got me up to the ambulance and started cutting my clothes off of me, and they started packing the wounds.
Sergeant Emily Augustine tells me it wasn't until a day later it sunk in.
I just lost it and started crying and went over to him, and everybody just kind of stepped out of the room. He's always been such a strong person, and he's always been the one that takes care of me and the kids and the house.
Then more tears after the community's strong show of support.
It was amazing. It was overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. Ty and I know we've cried several times together, because it's just amazing that so many people, you know, that you don't even know are willing to reach out and say thank you.
But nationwide, it's been tough for law enforcement.
We're a divided nation right now, more so than we have been in 40 or 50 years.
And then last week, the Augustines say what happened in Sebastian County was too close to what happened to Lieutenant Augustine.
My wife and I and a couple of the deputies went to Fort Smith, but we weren't able to get there in time to offer any support. It's a difficult time for all police officers. You know, we have support, and we have a lot more support than we realize a lot of times. You know, and my incident proved that to me, how many people support. It's kind of a silent majority, but people aren't so silent anymore.
Still, a life lost, and Lieutenant Augustine was unable to make it to Corporal Bill Cooper's funeral, but Sergeant Augustine was.
I was thankful for myself that I didn't have to, that wasn't my husband, you know. But I was also heartbroken for the family of Bill Cooper, because I knew the anguish they were feeling. You know, I knew that they were suffering.
The law enforcement family reminded of reality.
Corporal Cooper paid the ultimate sacrifice and reminded us that freedom is not free.
That statement rings true with me, that freedom isn't free. There's a price paid for all of it.
I think people, we as a nation, sometimes forget that, and we take it for granted that we have the freedoms that we have.
You know in the back of your mind that it could happen any day, any time, but that doesn't stop you from going and doing what needs to be done.
As for the suspect, Raymond Plumley,
I don't hold any hard feelings against them or against Mr. Plumley. I've forgiven him. I'm still mad. I'm mad at him for shooting me, but I hold him hard. I don't have any hard feelings against him. You know, other than that, I've forgiven him.
Lieutenant Augustine says he was hoping to already be back at work full-time, but right now he's taking it one day at a time. 3 days in therapy, 2 days he's on light duty. In Washington County, Yuna Lee, 4029 News.
Lieutenant Tion Augustine of the Washington County Sheriff's Department survived being shot and is sharing his story. Tonight, 4029's Yuna Lee wraps up her conversation with Augustine and his family about that painful day and how they've grown as a family.
Washington County Lieutenant Tion Augustine shot and injured in the hip.
I couldn't feel it at first. I couldn't move it, I couldn't bend it. The officers that were with me left cover and got a hold of me and started dragging me. Then I started feeling the burning from where the bullet passed through, and then the pain from the broken femur. It was intense.
An intense, dark moment in Washington County history, bringing this family closer.
In a way, I kind of thank God about it because it's brought our family closer together. So, I mean, in a way, Ty being shot helped all of us out. So, I mean, I wish he didn't have to be shot.
Me and my wife decided to move down here to help with them and taking care of the house and whatever else needs done. We moved down that day that he got shot. That's when we were at the hospital.
Yeah, I was just hoping that, I wasn't going to lose my stepdad because, he's a father figure to me. So, I was just praying to God that he was okay.
One family standing together through tough times.
I think we're in a real bad place as a country, as a nation. It's a difficult time for all police officers.
All right, stay back over here.
Dallas, few months after Lieutenant Augustine was seriously shot. And then Baton Rouge. And here at home, a man fires at law enforcement officers, killing Sebastian County Deputy Bill Cooper. Lieutenant Augustine says it's been rough.
The majority of law enforcement are just trying to do the right thing every day. And they're putting their lives on the line to do that.
I'd say probably the majority of them, have issues respecting police officers. But then, you have the few who, are supportive. But at my age, I see a lot of disrespect towards them.
At 17 years old, Lieutenant Augustine's youngest stepson says his goal is to be a law enforcement officer.
This is not deterring you away from wanting to be in law enforcement?
Oh, no. No, it makes me want to do it more. Seeing all the officers getting targeted and stuff, it just makes me want to do it more.
Andy Glass is a senior, and he says he already has his career path planned out. As for Lieutenant Tion Augustine, he is back on the job, but only on light duty. He says he was already hoping to be back on the streets by now. Yuna Lee, 4029 News.
The shooting suspect Raymond Plumlee will be in court November 16th on an attempted capital murder charge.